Hey guys, Will here with Core Performance, and today's video is talking about our exciting collaboration with K-Factor Breaching in order to bring you the newest addition to your breaches toolkit, the ICEBLOQ. For those of you that are new to this video series, my name is Will. I am a retired Marine gunner. I spent over the last 2 decades cutting my teeth as an infantry Marine. Started off as an infantry assaultman, which allowed me to have a lot of exposure to demolitions prior to doing other things and just dealing with guns. So I'm really excited to introduce Joe from K-Factor Breaching. I will let him do the honors of telling his story.
Yeah, thanks, Will. So I'm Joe, K-Factor Breaching, co-owner and co-inventor of the K-Clip. I got my start in the Marine Corps as well.
Yes, you did.
Former Marine combat engineer. I'm just a one-pump chump, so I only did 8 years. So I did my first explosive breaching package as a combat engineer. That's kind of where I cut my teeth and where I started this passion for breaching that I got. And then, from there, from the Marine Corps, after I left the Marine Corps, I got into law enforcement, got into SWAT teams, I got into explosive breaching there, and continued my breaching gig, if you will. But it's been an exciting 14 years now. It's eat, sleep, and breathe it. So.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Good. Tell us a little bit about the idea about this collaboration.
So the idea behind the ICEBLOQ tamping product is that it's an enhancement to the standard hockey puck charge.
Sure.
Right. The hockey puck charge is kind of the go-to. It's that cookie cutter charge. It's in every demo bag. I've seen them for years.
Sure.
I know you have too. All we're doing is we're going to enhance that charge with water. Now, we all know that water provides a very powerful tamping medium because it's non-compressible.
Sure.
So the same principles that Core Performance touts of stopping the back face deformation in plates and things like that, we're going to use that same thing in order to make our charge more effective.
Okay. What have been the, you talked a little bit about hockey puck, the old ways of using water as far as a tamping device?
So IV bags are kind of always the go-to.
That's right.
I've seen everything from IV bags to the hot water beverage bags and MREs. You guys take a lot of duct tape and make their own there. Yeah. So there are some other things out there on the market, some higher end breaching things that, the expensive stuff exists.
That's right.
We're trying to make something a little bit cheaper, a little bit more accessible to those everyday breachers in order to fit those tight budgets as they are tightening up now.
That's right.
So
yeah, I think the one benefit of in the military, the IV bags, as you mentioned, they were pretty readily available, right? You can find them on every single corpsman inside of any BAS. So I think that's a lot of the reasons why that was an expedient method of being able to get that effect out of a charge. Yeah. On top of the MRE sleeve, right, or MRE bag, right? Like just a great multi-purpose use of a piece of plastic.
Oh
right?
So this offers a lot more durable solution.
Sure,
right?
That's right.
This is it's constructed out of high-density polyethylene plastic. You're not going to break that. You fall on it, whatever. If you fall on an IV bag, chances are your charge is gone. Now you're ripping tape, trying to put something back together. This thing's very sturdy. And with it being that high-density polyethylene, when you get into the lower charges, we talk about really lowering our net explosive weights, where this may typically be a 300 to 400 grain charge. We've had success down to 72 grains.
Yeah. That's insane.
It's incredible. So we're seeing about a 60% reduction in our net explosive weight.
Oh, wow.
And in those lower, those super low net explosive weight charges, we're seeing this ICEBLOQ staying in one piece, and it goes to the 12 o'clock position. It's very repeatable, so we're seeing the same thing over and over.
Repeatable and consistent, right?
Repeatable, consistent.
I'll tell you what, when you are, whether you're out on the range or actually doing your operation, the ability to have something that is repeatable and consistent is fantastic, right? Because you always understand, where the damage is going to be, where the effects of the overpressure, right? All of it is just that makes me like this a whole lot, right?
Yeah.
We were out on the range, we had a good time.
It was cold.
So it was definitely cold.
Yeah.
It was definitely cold.
Nobody talked about putting hot water in the ice plates.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
So I've got an example here.
Sure.
Just what it would look like, or an example of what it could look like. Your standard OD green duct tape.
Of course.
Obviously, of course, we have your K-Factor brand K-Clip.
Sure.
coming off of there. That's your priming system. So this is a super low weight charge, and obviously this is an inert, but super lightweight charge. Breacher's tape on the back. There's not a whole lot of frills here, but the efficacy of this ICEBLOQ in tamping those charges and allowing you to lower that net explosive weight is just incredible.
That's right.
We're very excited about it.
Yeah, so easily portable, right? You can stack them, right? You can carry them in cargo pockets, you can carry them in packs, whatever that is, or at wherever you do your charge construction. So let's talk a little bit more about the data, right? So the range data that we did.
Yeah. So our lowest shot would have been our 7th one. That was constructed out of 48 inches of 18 grain deck cord. If we do the math there, standard, not converted for new, that's with a single cap, that's 86.01 grains. That is next to nothing. For comparison, if you're not using K-clips and you're doing a Red Devil system or something like that, that's a 77 grain charge right there, or 74 grain. We're almost there with just our priming system, right? So we cut that out, we direct prime. Hey, we're getting super low in our net explosive weight. What that gives us, for our guys in Europe, that gives us 5.57 grams. Or our TNT equivalent of 0.02 pounds.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, tiny little charge. Our MSD is calculated with a K factor of 20, 5.5 feet, or in metrics, 1.7 meters.
Okay.
So very, very low charge. It does a great job of tamping, and we get high effects. This is very similar effects to about 225 grain. Is what we're seeing on the target. So, what
was it? On the higher end, right?
Yeah. So on the higher end, we constructed one with 50 grain deck cord, which would be your standard. So we built it to the standard. That's 6 feet of that 50 grain, and then we put an ICEBLOQ on there just to kind of see what it would do. We ended up punching a hole through a Class 1 metal door.
That's why I wanted to mention
So it tamped too well, we had to start lowering it anew.
I thought that was actually, I didn't mean to cut you off, but that's what I thought was the most interesting, right? Is seeing it at the range, putting what we thought was going to be the right amount, and then all of a sudden, whoa, guys, we need to. We could probably do this with a whole lot less. That we didn't know that going in. So
that's the science behind it. That's the fun thing. That's what I like doing, getting that.
Super fun.
I didn't realize science was cool until I started blowing stuff up. So that 6 feet of 50, that's standard hockey puck charge for residential doors. That's a 338 grain with a single cap, or a 0.08 pound. Okay. So we've gone from 0.08 to 0.02 with the same effects. So, and our MSD calculated with a K factor of 20 for that charge was 8.7 feet, which is still relatively low, but we've peeled a lot off.
That's right.
So there's just a lot of impressive things that we can do. I can tell you that probably my favorite one that we pulled was 25 grain deck cord. So it's not quite as low. It's that 114 grain. It's 114 grains was our overall standard. So it's not calculated for net explosive weight, but our net explosive weight was 0.027 pounds. And that was a very effective charge. Very, very well-rounded charge, I think. Which our MSD is 6.1 feet, or we'll round up. We always round up. So round up to 7 feet. So very, very good charge.
So let's talk a little bit about fragmentation, right? So fragmentation and effects outside of the actual blast and the force itself.
Sure. So what we were a little concerned about at first, before we pulled any, is how is this high density polyethylene going to behave? Because there's a good bit of plastic there.
That's right.
And what we found was in that 300 grain weight and that 225 grain weight, it's kind of in that area, we would see some deflagration of it, right? But it appeared to be non-injurious, and it largely fell well within MSD. Now, majority of the casing we would locate about 25 feet from the charge, but at the 12 o'clock position, which we thought was very promising.
Sure.
So we started lowering these net explosive weights and just really cutting down how many grains we were putting in the charge. And what we found was, and like we knew with everything, the less explosives you have in a charge, less energetics you have, the larger the pieces that are coming off of that. So both at that 86 grain weight charge, so with that 18 grain, and then the 114 made with the 25 grain, we found the ice blocks nearly whole, about 50 feet from the target.
Sure.
And as we said before, very repeatable, predictable, and dependable charge. We knew exactly where it was going to go.
Sure.
There was no cone. I mean, there was no deviation in how they were coming off. They were coming off at 12 o'clock. They were landing 50 feet. Exactly where we expected them every single time.
Yeah.
I'm confident that I could walk that off and place a target and hit a target with one of these ice blocks.
That's what I was gonna say. It's like, hey, if you stood right here, this is the only spot that this thing's gonna hit you, right?
Absolutely.
Everywhere else, you're gonna be good.
So,
it was that consistent. It repeated all the time. It was actually pretty interesting to see. I don't know that any of us actually were gonna expect that it was gonna do that, right? So
no, and I didn't either at first, but it's a great finding.
That's right. That's right.
And so that actually, we did have some other agencies on the range with us that day, and one of them came to me with some concerns about it. They said, hey, we're making a rocket here. And I said, well, we are, but what did you just put on the chart? You just put on the door.
That's right.
You put 6 feet of a fire hose that goes off in a 15-degree cone about 75 feet with some force. So, what's more predictable, right? What are we looking for? We're looking for repeatable, dependable charges. So, and we're cutting that fire hose off, and we're sending it as a rocket.
That's right.
It's way less dependable, way less repeatable. So
yeah, I think it's interesting when you talk about things like fire hoses, right? Because breaching is only you're only limited by your imagination for the most part, right? And a little bit of the physics and a little bit of the the materials that you're going to use, but everything adds a level of risk, right? So I think again, we keep saying it. It's repeatable, it's consistent, and it is very low. Not eliminating risk, right? But it reduces risk because of that repeatable action, or that recurring action. So, I mean, super interesting. And when everyone gets an opportunity to get one of these out on the range or in an operation, you're going to be really surprised about how it performs. So, man, this is really cool.
It's been a very fun project to work on. I've had a great time with it.
Okay, guys, that's what we have for you. Thank you for watching. Joe, thank you so much for coming by.
My pleasure.
This is the ice block. This is what you can make out of it. It's available now. A fantastic option for your breacher's toolkit. Don't forget to like, subscribe, add your comments and insights in the comment section below. And until next time, stay frosty.